letak tu. Tak letak. Oh, tu jangan letak.
Push kulit. Push kulit. Papa. Ni.
Tengok dia ganti.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Wait ya. So if you have what we call this any question, you can just write to me via the Telegram. Okay. So because I could not be seeing you, because I cannot see the questions, since I am just going to give you lectures here. So as you can see that in this what we call this the thing that we are going to focus on is this research overview for today. And then for the research overview, we are going to learn a few things. Okay. Now for this research to be what we call this for this particular topic, you are going to learn 3 topics. Yeah, I mean for this week, right? Okay, let's take a look at the first topic, and that topic is research overview. Hold on. Okay. Okay, now I hope that you can see my slide now. Okay, so for introduction to research, okay, so this is the first topic. It is on this it is on the introduction to research. Okay, so basically when it comes to introduction to research, okay, hold on. Okay, a few things that I need to settle with regards to the technical thingy here. Hold on, yeah. Okay, now for the introduction to research, when we say research, okay, it is actually an organized inquiry. Okay, it is something that you organize, or it is something that you carry out because what we call this because we want to make sure that we are getting information. Okay, so this is the first thing that we are going to do when we want to have, or when we conduct what we call this research. Yeah. Now, and then of course that particular we conduct research because we are actually, or we want to solve a problem. Yeah, usually for PhD or for masters, it is a problem. Okay, not so many problems, but just one problem that you will be tackling. Okay, now research in its manner is actually a foundation of every science. We do research because we want to find scientific data or scientific information about the things that we want an answer for. Okay, so this is basically introduction to research. Now, we move on to what is the, research in its essence. Okay, so we can have here something like what we call this, the research. Okay, the research. Okay, it's actually when we say we do it again and again. Okay, so that is what re means. So when we are conducting research, we have to be doing not only, let's say, one research, but sometimes that particular research is not enough, or that particular research is not sufficient, and therefore we require further investigation of that particular research. Okay. Now, what you're doing now is actually, okay, something that you extend from other people's research. You cannot say that this is a totally novel in such a way that you are the only person who is on the earth is doing that particular research. Okay, no one can admit that. Okay, you in any essence, okay, regardless how novel you claim your research is, you are actually picking up your research from someone else. Okay, from the researchers, from the former researchers who are doing the same topic like the one that you did. You're just making it in such a way that you're just extend what the people are doing. Okay, and then we have another one that is search here. So for search, okay, you have something like where's that thing? Okay, for search, for instance, here like this, here it is to find, okay, it's to find answers to what you are searching for. So you do that search, you do that searching. Okay, you carry out investigation, you read from literature. Okay, so what are other people obtained when they did theirs. Okay, and of course you combined all those information, and when you combine those information, you analyze, you synthesize, and finally you found that, okay, there is something that is still lacking in regards to the research that you are going to be conducting. Okay, so this is what you are actually do in the process of search, in the search process. Okay, and then finally we take a look at the process. Okay, so in every research there are some processes, there are some stages, or there are some steps that you need to be doing. Okay, so it is not just a matter of you just do whatever that you want to do, which is not a research. A research is a systematic. Okay, therefore we go by step. After data analysis, no, you collect data first. No, it's not that you collect data first. You need to formulate what your research questions are. Okay, before that, what are your research objectives? Yeah, research objectives first, then research questions. It cannot be the other way around. You have to have the objectives of doing the research, and from that research objective, you may be having, or you can formulate the research questions. Okay, right. So this is what you are going to do. Then after you do this, what we call this, after you have done with this thing, the research questions, I mean. Hold on. Okay, hold on, yeah. I'm just searching for that thing. Okay, hold on. Then after you do this, then again for this process, okay. So once you have formulated the research question, of course, you are going to have statement of problems, okay, and etc. and etc. Then once everything is finalized in such a way that you will be defending your proposal, okay. Once the proposal has been accepted by the committee, then only you're going to conduct the research. And of course, in that particular research, when you have defended, you are first going to do a pilot study. Okay, so that is how you cannot just straight away go to the field and do the research. It can't be done that way. Now, in social sciences research, for instance, okay, you conduct the survey, okay, you conduct survey and etc. and etc. And you collect the data already, and then you analyze data, Okay, so when you analyze data, okay, you need to ensure that in the first place, are your data validated? Okay, who is reading your interview instrument? Who is reading your questionnaire items, etc. and etc. And of course, when you are going to analyze your data, you have to go for what we call as exploratory data analysis. You need to make sure that your data is normal. Or when your data is not normal, what are the things that you need to be doing? Okay, this is what I mean when you insert all the data in a statistical SPSS. Okay, so you cannot be claiming, or you cannot jump into a way into, you cannot jump saying that, okay, these are the research questions, now I'm going to answer the research questions. It is not how it goes. Okay, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you have to do this explanatory EDA, we call it, exploratory data analysis, okay, to determine that your data is really normal. Okay, so what I mean by normal is that, you will be learning this with, for those who are taking, I think those who are in section MIR 02, PIR 02, you are going to learn this with Prof Rashid. Okay, so you need to make sure that data is normal. All right, data is normal in such a way there is no asterisk, so there is no students that will know. I mean, there will not be any student, or there will not going to be any respondents or participants that will be contaminating your data. Okay, so I do not want to go too long with this thing, but I just want you to realize that in doing research, you are doing some systematic steps of getting answers to what in your mind, to what you're doing. Okay, all right. Now, again, when we look at the process of looking for a solution, okay, probably, the problem that you're going to tackle, maybe it will be beneficial in terms of maybe you are going to formulate policies, or maybe you are going to enhance or improve the policy. Okay, so whatever it is, the bottom line is that, okay, you need to conduct an empirical or observed data first, meaning to say that you need to collect the data first, and then you need to be, analyzing it. Okay, and therefore you are going to get the data. So this is what it means by, it's a process whereby it's a step-by-step process, and it is doing it again and again. Okay. Okay, now in essence, if you talk about what is research, okay, so we can say that in the most simple definition, okay, for what research is, it is a systematic process where one carries out to collect and analyze information to increase an understanding of the world in general and to the phenomena under study in particular. So it means here that more or less you are saying that, in this part of the world there is a problem, but you're not talking, you cannot, when you're doing, even though you're doing PhD, you are not going to solve problems that we are facing in this world. You're just going to have, you're just going to solve problems in that particular, you're just going to solve problems, okay, to those who will be involved in your study, not to the world actually. Okay, so imagine that 3 years, let's say you are collecting only 10, you are going to be conducting, let's say, interviews with only 10 or 15 respondents or participants. So your research is very tiny. Okay, it's very tiny and tiny and tiny, but it is really focused. Okay, so those who are doing PhD especially, so make sure you always talk to your supervisors in terms of sampling. Okay, now this is the thing that I want you to be sure of. Okay, to look at the samples that you can cater, the samples that you can reach. Okay, now this is very important. All right, now why do we conduct research? Okay, we in general sense here, we conduct research because we want to understand about a certain phenomena much better. Okay, we want to be well informed. We want to be better informed of a particular matter. And of course, when we are informed about a particular matter, we can avoid having biased decision. I mean, maybe you have you have not enough answers for a particular question. Okay, and therefore when you do research, it partially will be you will have something like informed decision. Oh, a research has been conducted in this regard, and therefore this is the thing that I'm going to believe now, something like that. Okay, and therefore we can say that we do research because we want to avoid guessing. Okay, or perhaps this is what is going to happen. Okay, we want to avoid hunches. We also want to avoid intuition and of course personal experience. Okay, and especially when you are writing the statement of problem. Okay, and this is the most challenging part for any PhD or for that matter master students. Okay, now when you're writing statement of problems, so that statement of problems must not come from your personal experience only. Okay, yeah, it is true that the thing that you want to research is basically your own observation of the things that is happening around you. But you need to make sure that, okay, who substantiate your claim? Who says that something similar happened in their places, something like that, or something similar happens in the thing in their specific location. Okay, so the key word here is actually substantiate claims. Support your claims with research who more or less have similar area of the thing that you are studying, something like that. Okay, now, and we take a look at now. Research is actually the what of research. Okay, the what of research is actually, it is about facts and conclusion. Okay, everything is about facts. Numbers is facts. Okay, data is facts, and of course, out of that facts, you are going to conclude. Okay, to what you found. That is what of research. We take a look at how of research. Okay, we are going to do it scientifically, or we are going to process that data in a critical. We are going to analyze the data critically. Okay, let's say you want to find whether there is significant difference in student in, I don't know, maybe you want to find significant difference whether or not students, male students or female students are much better at learning something. Okay, this is the social sciences research again for the example. So you are going to use SPSS again, and then of course when you cannot find there is a significant difference, and therefore it needs you to critically state why you cannot find that there is a significant difference pertaining to gender difference here. Okay, so this is where you need to be a little bit analytical when writing, and this is especially required of you when you are writing chapter 5. Yeah, chapter 5. And of course, chapter 4 is like analysis and discussion, but chapter 5 is something that you are contributing to the world of research. Okay, contributing to the knowledge, of course. All right. Now we move on to research is an iterative process. Like I told you, it is a process that is again and again that you conduct. Okay, that finally enables a researcher to seek an explanation or solve a particular problem. So this is what research is about. Now, we take a look now at the characteristics of research. Okay, so first is that tentative. Okay, it is very tentative, and of course we have something like constant review. Okay, and then characteristic number 2, it is empirically verifiable. I mean, it can be researchable. Okay, this is very important when you're doing research. It has to be something that is carryable, researchable. Okay, it is within the scope of what you can do. Okay, you are in Malaysia, right? Don't do something that is, I don't know, something that you want to do when you are, let's say, people in Alaska is having some problems. don't do something that is beyond you, meaning to say that you are in Malaysia, so do something that is in Malaysia only. But I could not deny that maybe you want to, I don't know, maybe you have something like you need to go to the place, maybe your research is only in that place, then it is another problem. It is another matter. But as far as what I know in UMP, usually when you're doing research, you need to be going to labs and etc. And I feel that the research that you are going to conduct is more or less the one that you can do in UMP. Okay. Okay. So this is what it means by researchable. Okay. And then we have. Okay, then we have ethically neutral. Okay, neutral means to say that it is harm. You need to be avoiding. Avoiding anything that will harm you, or that will anything that will harm your respondents. Okay, maybe the risk should minimize it, and of course the confidentiality, especially to the responses, I mean to the human beings, so that to the people that you are employing them as participants. Yeah, and of course everyone needs to make sure that okay, any research, it is to be shared and made public. And therefore when we are talking about shared and made public, it means, or it is equals to writing a paper, not a paper, writing papers. That is plural, not singular. Okay, PAPERS is a plural. Okay, so at the end of the when you have conducted your research, okay, so you need to be writing research papers. Okay, and of course research papers can be written you can write the research papers, and of course your supervisor will be the what we call this will be the co-authors. Okay, so always make sure that always find consent from your supervisor that you are going to include his or her name. Okay, because sometimes I don't know, sometimes some professors or some lecturers, they do not want to include their name. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, so that is a different story. So as a student, do inform your supervisors or co-supervisors that you are going to include their names in the papers that you are writing. Okay, now we move on to the purpose of research. Okay, so basically there are three main purposes of research. Okay, so the first is actually to just explore. Okay, to just explore, to see things. Okay, and then you want to explain that something is happening here. Okay, all right, so explain, of course, it is not just a matter of explain, but it's more than explanation. You need to have data, you need to have analysis. Okay, and of course conclusion. Of course these are also relevant for describing. Okay, so when you're describing, you are actually stating that you found this. Okay, and then this or the results that you have are supporting research from the previous research that was conducted by such and such person. Okay, such and such authors. So this is the thing that you need to be doing as far as you do research. Yeah. Okay. Now we talk about research approach. Now in research, there are basically two approaches. Okay, so the first is the basic approach. Oh, the basic research. Right. Now it says here that a basic research is a type of research approach that is aimed at gaining a better understanding of a subject. Subject means what? Subject means a person or group or unit. So this is what it means by subject. Yeah, phenomenon or basic law of nature. All right. This type of research is primarily focused on the advancement of knowledge rather than solving a specific problem, though. So those who are in social sciences field, they do this. Okay, they're actually finding advancement of knowledge. Okay, now in this pandemic era, okay, in this pandemic situation, there are so many online distance learning that enabled you to or enable students to learn. Okay, so those who are doing basic research, they are doing research in such a way they see how. Okay, not only how, but they explained. Okay, so the appropriate online distance learning should be this and that, because when they conducted research like for like one semester, let's say 14 weeks, they found that this is the impact, or this is the thing that they found. What are the advantages of doing online distance learning, and etc. and etc. Okay, you may be saying that if you don't do research, you know the answer. Okay, it is true that you know the answer, but your claim is not scientific. Your claim is just based on your rational thinking. You don't have data. Okay, you are not a scientific researcher. So when we are talking about research, we need scientific data. Okay, if not, you are just talking in a coffee shop or something. Okay, right. So then we talk about what we call this, basic research is what we call fundamental research, or another name is pure research. So basically, this fundamental research, they explore, they describe, and of course they explain. Okay, remember I told you just now? Okay, explore, describe, explain. Okay. So the primary aim of the research approach is actually to obtain information. And of course, when you obtain information, you'll be able to improve your own understanding, people understandings out there, those who are interested, interested few who are studying the thing that you are researching. Okay, and this information can then be useful in offering solutions to a problem. All right, so this is what basic research is about. Okay, and of course now we take a look at the examples of basic research. Yeah, so in education, all right, you have to have a pedagogical theories. You have to have pedagogy, especially I think those who are related to this, and you must know what pedagogy is, especially for section 02 and section 02 in MIR, and of course PIR. So those are involved in those sections. You need to know the pedagogy more or less, or you need to know some theories. Okay, now when we talk about pedagogy, I'm not sure whether you have heard this. You may be listening, or you may be heard of these theories. For instance, Vygotsky, Piaget, Albert Bandura, Skinner, etc. and etc. So these are in the field of education. Okay, so examples of basic research and education are something like, how does the language acquisition device work on children? So device here means the tool. Okay, tool. Okay, what are the devices that enable students or enable children to learn language? Okay, or maybe basic research or fundamental research can be, how does the human retentive memory work? Okay, so when I did my PhD, I did something on retention. Okay, I study on how people can memorize. I study how people can use their memory. Okay, now when you are studying vocabulary, okay, especially English vocabulary, you are going to have short-term memory. When you pick up one vocabulary, it will be in your mind for 2 weeks. Okay, and then you are going to test again. If you remember, that is your short-term memory. Okay, and then in my study, I found that I did in such a way that I conducted a study whereby I used 3 types of methods, of helping students to improve their vocabulary. So I use computer. I use one software. I use a software, and then I use dictionary, and of course another one is guessing from context. Okay, so my study found that the most effective, the most effective way to retain vocabulary among students is the use of what we call this dictionary. Okay, because why? Because in the dictionary, it is very surprising. This is the main finding, yeah. Because in the dictionary, they learn how to structure the sentence. They learned the complete meaning of that particular vocabulary. Okay. However, all right, when we use, that particular software, student can retain vocabulary, but it's just for a very short period of time. Because let's say when you are, the software that I use, it doesn't state how what we call this how it is used, and of course in the dictionary sometimes you can find pictures, but in that particular software you really cannot find. Okay, and then of course I found another interesting thing is that when people guess, let's say you read a newspaper, okay, English newspaper for instance, right? Okay, so people who have more vocabulary, okay, are able to use guessing from context very much better. If you don't have a good vocabulary size, you do not understand. Okay, remember, I'm not sure how many took IELTS. Okay, so when you're taking IELTS, especially IELTS, yeah, when you're taking IELTS, especially in reading, you need to make sure that you understand almost 80% of the vocabulary. Then only you're going to have a good score of reading in IELTS. Okay, 80%, that is a lot. Okay, so let's say if you have only 50% of the understanding and your vocabulary is not good, guessing from context is not will not be helping you in enriching your vocabulary. So those are the things that I did, or that I found in my research. Okay, like I told you in the previous class, I did experimental research, I did interview, I did questionnaire, I did also survey. I have everything. Okay, because that is my nature of study. I'm not sure about yours. Okay, okay, so please consult your lecturer. Sometimes you need to be doing mixed method like I told you. Sometimes it is not necessary. But as far as you ask me, I'm really a mixed method kind of person. Okay, all right. So finally, we have a topic like this: how do teaching method affect students' concentration in class? So teaching method, yeah. Okay, now then we go to basic research example in science. We have something like, it will help researchers understand the function of newly discovered molecules, for instance, for instance cells, okay, or strange phenomena. I'm not sure what it means by strange here, but you are concentrating on the science itself, yeah. So this is actually when you're doing basic research in science, sometimes you are going to find scientific breakthroughs, okay, to what you will be discovering, yeah. All right, so example of basic research in science include research to determine the chemical composition of organic molecules. Maybe the thing that you are doing, organic molecules, any organic molecules for that matter, okay. When you that chemical composition, let's say when you add this chemical composition to that particular composition, what happens, okay. The size, of course, you need to look at the size, to look at the composition of the size of that particular chemical, yeah. So these are the things we talk about as far as basic research is concerned. Maybe you want to study or discover the components of the human DNA. So this is very fundamental, very basic. Okay, you want to discover the components of the human DNA. So what are the components? Number 1, number 2, number 3. It's just not naming number 1, number 2, number 3, but you need to be doing research, determining that this is component A, it consists of this, this is how it goes, etc. So this is what basic research is about. Okay. All right. Okay, now then we have, okay, hold on. Okay. So this is what basic research is about. Okay. All right. Okay, now then we have okay. So this is what basic research is about. Okay, now we're going to continue, and this is about applied research. Okay, so for applied research, it is designed to focus on providing practical solutions to a specific problem. So the so the key word here is practical solutions to a specific problem. All right. It is a form of investigation that entails solution-oriented inquiries. You have solution. You just want to focus on things that you are going to solve when you do this research, okay? So it is a field of study or research subject generally employing empirical methodologies, okay? So in many cases, applied research is a follow-up research decision for basic research. So usually, when you're doing applied research, okay, it actually comes from the basic research. Okay, you in the first place conduct the basic research, and in the second, what we call this, in the second stage, remember we have research, right? So you may be doing applied research. Okay. So all in all, if you understand basic and applied research, sometimes it can go together. You do basic research first, then applied research. Okay, so this is the thing. For instance, okay, you do survey first, and then once you do survey first, and then you are going to do experiment, classroom experiment. You have done research already. You've conducted survey, and then now you are going to conduct. Okay, students, let's say in the survey, you obtain, these are the things that student like in regards to doing something. Okay, now you are going to test what you found in the basic research, the data that you found in the basic research, and now you're going to do it, or you're going to extend. Okay, you're going to go to a stage, another stage, whereby now you are going to do applied research. Okay, this is what it means by applied research. So it is it is a research that you want to do because you want to find practical solutions. Okay, right. And of course, we talk about, just now we talk about, of course we can say just now is more or less, we can also describe the fundamental and applied research as types of research. Okay, so fundamental can be lab research, okay? Applied can be evaluation or action or simple social impact. So it can be also like that, okay? So this is something that you talk about in regards to doing types of research. And of course, when you're doing lab research, it may not be just fundamental. It can be applied as well, okay? Lab research in fundamental is just a basic one, okay? But then you extend it, okay? And therefore now you're doing applied research, okay? Now this is types of research. Okay, now we move on to the second topic. Now if you see, wait, I'm not sure whether you can, hold on. Where's the thing? Done with this part. Okay, yeah. I want to show you something. Share. Stop sharing. Okay. Wait, stop sharing for that particular thing first. Okay, now. Okay, now. Now here. Okay. Topic 2 research overview. So I've talked about this part just now, research overview. Okay, and now I will be talking about preparation for scientific research. Okay, so just now on my slides, I combine those three. But as far as your notes are concerned, or as far as your slides are concerned, they are separated into three slides, into three sets of slides. Yeah. So I hope that is just nothing much to worry about. Okay. Right. Okay. Now we move on. Okay, now we talk about topic 2, preparation for scientific research. Okay, now when we talk about preparation for scientific research, it is very much related to writing a scientific paper. Okay, now and now I'll be telling you, I'll be explaining to you about how to write a paper, not very specific, but in a broad manner. Okay, and of course I would like to remind, and I've talked to Encik Syahrizai, the person who is in charge of doctorate or master research scheme. Okay, so he told me that what did he tell me just now? So he told me that, what's that thing? Okay, so I read his message here. Okay, wait, where's that thing? Okay. So he told me, okay, now, commitment every year, you need to publish article, 1 peer review, 2 scopus minimum. 1 year, every year kena publish article, 1 peer review, 2 scopus minimum. I'm not sure whether that is 1 peer review and 2 scopus minimum. That is every year. I'm not sure how, I don't think that is how it goes, but I think 1 article per year. Okay, 1 article per year. Is that true? Okay, so whatever it is, okay, the bottom line here is that when you receive or when you obtain a scholarship from UMP, it is every year that UMP requires you to write papers. Okay, Scopus papers or WOS or maybe peer review. So please make sure that you really understand your obligatory or your responsibilities as a student who obtained DRS, MRS. Okay, and then another thing that he mentioned or he stated, okay, I read it in Bahasa Melayu ya. Tak ada artikel, tak boleh sambung DRS. If you don't have articles, your DRS will not be continued. So it's a very challenging thing, but if you believe that you can do it, inshallah you will do it. But as far as this is concerned, okay, it really needs your mental and physical effort. Okay, it's not just mental. It also requires a physical effort to be writing. Okay, and of course, like myself, even today I have classes. At the same time, I cannot run away from writing papers. Okay, now for today, because I have classes. Okay, I'm supposed to have class at this moment, but I give something to the students, to the undergraduate students, okay, very early in the morning, right? I give my audio recording, okay, so I ask students to do things, okay, so this is what I did. I'm not sure whether you can see this or not, doesn't matter, okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that as a researcher and I am a lecturer, we cannot run from writing a scientific paper. We cannot run away from that. And especially you, postgraduate students is equal to, okay, those person who are going to write scientific paper. You can't run away from that, okay? You just have to make sure that in your mind, publish. Okay, so this is the keyword. This is the mantra. Can we call mantra? Mantra. Bahasa Melayu we call mantra, right? Mantra is mantra. It's a loan word. Okay, anyway, so this is the thing that you need to be doing. Okay, Now, scientific papers are for sharing your own original research work. I mean, the things that you're conducting. You conduct research, you write papers, okay? They are critical to the evolution of modern science because when people write and when people share, the knowledge, your knowledge, the knowledge that you're doing in regards to your to your study you are going to understand it much better. Okay, this is what we call as a evolution of modern science. Okay, now writing scientific research aims at informing. Okay, you want to inform, not the other, not in a way that you are going to impress others. Okay, now I have this kind of data, mine is greater than yours, which is completely not ethical as a researcher. Okay, your aim in writing scientific research is to let people know that you are doing this and I'm informing you that I got this data, full stop. Okay, and of course the scientific papers that you are writing must be highly readable. I mean, people can read your article. Okay, now it is rather good at this very initial stage, okay, preliminary stage. You write to article who you can publish, you can get published easily, just to motivate yourself. Okay, I mean, the first time, I'm not sure, when I what we call this I still remembered when I published my papers, one paper. Okay, at that time I just sent, okay, it is just some part of my thesis. Okay, so because you want to graduate, you need to be publishing papers. So I get some things, a few things, okay, chunk here, chunk there, and then I put it and I write it in my research, and I did the chunks. Okay, I combine in such a way that it is good to go for a scientific research. Okay, so when I sent it, it was published. Okay, and at that time the Scopus thingy is not really popular. I mean, we talk about Scopus, I think, but it is not really popular. What more about WOS? Yeah, that time it was ISI, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so I just write to this particular journal. Okay, of course, everything is ready, right? Because I'm in my final semester, I obtained the data already. Everything is there. It's just that I need to pick up here and there to arrange all those, and then I'll be submitting the paper. So it so happened that at that year of time when I submit my paper, that particular article that particular journal received what we call this, that is Scopus index. Okay, so that at that time I did not care that much because I'm just a student. I don't know how valuable that is. Okay, but I do not want you to be like me. Okay, what I mean here is that when we talk about research and when we talk about papers, there are a few, there is value to the papers that you write. Peer review, Scopus, WOS. So when you talk to your supervisors know about this. And of course, your supervisor will be aiming, the least will be Scopus. But as far as yours is concerned, just to satisfy your writing, yeah, your writing nature or something like your writing activity, I feel that you start with peer review first. Okay, just to make sure that you make yourself happy first, and then of course when the motivation is there, and when you can write, you go to scope. You go one step further. Okay, and another thing is that, okay, this is the thing that you are going to be doing, and maybe your supervisor will be asking you. They are more likely to be cited by other scientists. So if you will be publishing articles, okay, the articles will be published by Elsevier, for instance, okay, or WS or any WS at all, your articles will be more cited. Okay, your article will be cited by a lot of others. Okay, so so it is rather very helpful, right? But as far as citing is concerned, people to cite your paper is concerned, it is not a one day kind of thing. Okay, it takes years and years and years. Okay, you ask your supervisor of this, especially those in social sciences. Okay, now coming back to continue with what we are discussing, preparation for scientific research. Okay, now when you are writing scientific papers, okay, there are actually two audiences that will be reading your paper. Okay, the first is the referees, okay, who are the journal editors that will be reading your papers before it can be published. And of course, the second will be the reader themselves, okay. So as far as the referees is concerned, if you want to know, you just want to test, okay, you just want to have the feeling of how it is when you write papers, okay, you may be doing like this. You go to, you can send papers to any Scopus journal, and you, when you get their comments. Of course, when that particular Scopus journal, they reject your paper, it is not just a matter of rejection, but you take a look at what are the improvements that need to be done. I think that is also one of the ways that you can learn. And in fact, I learned from that as well. Okay, I sent to WS, but of course sometimes it got rejected. But the comments is the thing that are most valuable to me. Sometimes you have the comments. Sometimes the journal just say this particular article is not suitable for our journal, full stop. Sometimes you get that kind of response. Okay, yeah. Sometimes the author, or sorry, not the author, the referees or the person who read give you a very thorough, yeah, give you a very thorough kind of comments. And that comments are really valuable in improving your scientific paper, in improving your paper. Okay, so always write. Okay, okay, now to be accepted by referees and cited by readers, papers must do more than simply present a chronological account of the research work. Okay, it's not just a matter of presenting, but this is the key word, that you need to convince the audience, okay, that the research is presented in such a way that you need, or readers have to read your papers because it is important, because it is valid, and it is really relevant to what the readers is looking for. Okay, so this is the thing when it comes to when you're writing papers, we can say that it's not just writing papers, but papers are written because you want others to benefit from it, and of course others will be citing your papers. Okay, all right, now this is the last topic I would say. This is the preparation for scientific research. Now if you go to this remember I show you just now the slide. So this slide is the last slide. Okay, the last set of slide. Okay, now preparation for scientific research. So usually we can have something like introduction. Okay, this is the general components, I would say. Okay, now we have something like introduction or background of the study, but usually we write introduction. Okay, then we have materials and methods, results, discussion, and conclusion. So all these, okay, are the 5 sections. Okay, 5 sections of your paper. Or if you're familiar with, I'm not sure whether you're familiar with this acronym. Wait there. Okay, if you check this, a lot of article out there. Okay. Okay. All right. So people also call it as the acronym is IMRAD. Okay. It is I for introduction, M is for materials and methods, R is for results, A is actually for analysis, where you discuss, okay, and then analysis and discussion, okay, analysis and discussion, and finally, implicitly, there is a conclusion here. All right, so you IMRAD or IMRAD is another acronym when we are discussing about the ingredients or the subheadings or the headings to write in a scientific research paper. Okay. Oh, I actually have taklimat dana geran penyelidikan. Okay. Okay. And then we have preparation for scientific research. Now, when you're writing the introduction sections, okay, it actually clarifies the motivation for the work presented, and it actually also prepare the readers for the structure of the paper. So, in introduction, you are actually giving the overview of what the papers will be covering, what the papers will be, okay. And when readers read the introduction, they may they may identify whether this is something that they are looking for, or this is something that they are doing, and therefore your paper is the thing, or is the paper that they want to read. Okay, so this is the introduction part, overview of what the whole thing is about in regards to the research that you're doing. Okay. And then we have the materials and methods. The materials and methods, we talk about the methodology. Okay, so this is the section whereby it provides, okay, sufficient details. It provides some detailed information about the science, about the experiments that you're conducting. Okay. Now, in some journals, this information is placed in an appendix. So it depends on the journals that you are submitting. Sometimes it requires you to put or to write materials and methods in appendix. But as far as I'm writing articles are concerned, I have not accounted this yet. Okay. So for the materials and methods, you need to be writing what are the tools that you are using. Okay, in getting in getting your data, maybe in classroom research, what are the pedagogy or what are the methods that you use? Okay, what are the softwares? What are the applications and etc. Okay, so this is materials and methods, and also who are the samples in your study? Okay, and how many samples? Why that many? Why is it enough? How are you sure that it is enough? How are you sure that it is sufficient? Okay, you're going to learn that inshallah from Prof. Rashid, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't learn from her, get the answer from your supervisors. Okay, right. And then we have the results and discussion. Okay, for the results and discussion, it is a section that present and discuss the research results. Okay, it's all about your result. It's all about the results that you obtain, that you have found. Okay, now there are often usually useful combined into one section. Sometimes when you're writing papers, when you're writing articles, sometimes the journal requires you to just combine results and discussion. Okay, sometimes the journal wants it to be in such a way that results is one section or one heading, and a discussion is another heading. Okay, so whatever it is, follow the instruction. Okay, because you want yours to be what we call this to be accepted. Okay. Right. Okay. So it all depends, okay? And of course, sometimes you also need to follow the what we call this you know, as far as results and discussion, yeah. Sometimes the journal requires you to write or to have only, let's say, 20 20 references. 20 references. That is the requirement also. So please adhere to the requirements, okay? Sometimes the journal requires you to write 10 pages only. So you need to adhere to the pages. And then it is stated in that journal, in that author guidelines. If you exceed 10 pages, extra payment is, you know, is charged, okay? So always read and understand author's guideline before you proceed or before you decide to write to that particular journal. Yeah, always do this. And of course, when I look at journals, I will be looking at the payment first. Okay, sometimes, especially the journals in Elsevier, you don't be surprised when they are charging you like 5k Malaysian ringgit. Okay, 5k, 7k. Okay, so those who are, you know, got, you know, they receive FRGS or something like a research grant, so you go for it. Especially when your supervisors obtain some amount of money for his or her research grant. Okay, so don't be you know, I mean, don't be how to say, it is not peculiar. It is not. It is something that is going on in this world of research. Okay, you want, you pay. You want better payment, better quality. For instance, you go ahead and you know, look at this the guidelines of for authors. Yeah, and then finally we have conclusion. The conclusion is a section whereby you present the outcome of the work by interpreting the findings at a higher level of abstraction than the discussion. So the conclusion is actually to just pick up or to just having like something like this. Yeah? You just want the readers to have something like what we call as a takeaway messages. Takeaway messages meaning the things that are important in regards to the whole thing. Okay, so this is the conclusion. It's not a summary. Okay, don't confuse. Conclusion is not a summary. Conclusion are just important points that you want to that you want to readers read before they close or before they end reading your you know, your papers. Okay. So, and therefore, it says here, then the discussion, and by relating this finding to the motivation stated in the introduction. So always remember that, okay? When you write introduction, it must be in parallel with what you write in introduction. So check this, yeah? Always check this before you say, I'm done with writing the paper. Okay, so always check and balance intro and conclusion. I think your supervisor know how to do this if he's really into this writing paper. Sometimes some supervisors, they don't have, I'm telling the truth, yeah. Sometimes some supervisors, they don't have the time. They just have it in such a way that, you know, the students make all the decisions, which I think is quite a burden for the students. As far as I'm concerned, I will be looking at my students. I'll be reading my students' work before submission. All right. So always remember this. Okay. Check your work with your supervisor. And of course, I'm not sure how many have been using this, but I'm just going to tell you that I have been using this since I was doing a PhD. Okay, and until now, it is still here. It is Freeze Bank that is developed by a group of writers, I think, from the University of Manchester. So if you were to go here, you can have introducing work, referring to Freeze Bank, referring to sources, and etc. So so hold on. Okay, just let me do this. Okay, and then Wait, I will show you how you can actually use this to to make your writing more I don't know, perhaps it will speed up. I mean, you may be using this the words here or the phrases here because it is already there. I mean, those phrases are already there. Perhaps you want to use it. Okay, right. So this is the phrase bank that I'm saying. So here it tells you about okay, who developed this, John Morley. Okay, so I'm not sure who the person is. Anyway, so so let's say this is for introducing work. Is actually for chapter 1. Okay. So you can have here something like establishing the importance of the topic for the world or society. So you can have you can pick or you can choose any of this, any of this phrase, okay, and then you want to rephrase it, is good, and then use it in the article that you're writing, okay. So perhaps you want to use this, okay. Evidence suggests that vocabulary is among the most important factors when second language learners learn a language, for instance. Okay, you can go ahead, use it. Okay, and then you want to report, let's say report results. Okay, you have the results already, and now you are going to report the findings. You go under reporting results and you scroll down. Okay. Okay, you are going to maybe, because you found that you found something that that particular question you did not reach significant difference, for instance. Okay, so you can write something like, this is rather surprising, this is a surprising result. Okay, you can write something like that. This is a surprising or rather surprising results when the current study was not able to find differences in genders in terms of the way they write, something like that. Okay, so you can use some of the phrases here, regardless if you're doing science, your areas is in science or your areas in social sciences or whatever, you can take a look at this. And remember, okay, as far as I'm concerned, for research in social sciences, you need to be writing the minimum 5,000 words, okay, for a research article. The max will be 8,000 words. 8,000 words. And you please check when you're doing PhD, what are the requirements? I mean, what is the number of words that you need to write for your thesis? Okay, make sure you really you reach that number of words. Okay, so this is very important. Why did I tell you it's important? Because okay, if not, you are not qualified. I mean, that thesis is not qualified as a master's thesis or as a PhD thesis. So please make sure that you study or you take a look at how many words you need to be writing. Okay. Okay. Now we come back to this where we were before. Okay, done with this part. Then we have how to conduct research. I think this is the last topic. Or was it? I think this was the last. This is the last one. That thing was not the last one, right? Or was it the same thing? Again, doesn't matter. Whatever that I have here is on the slides. Okay. Now we have how to conduct research. So these are some of the basic steps of conducting a research. So first is that you need to identify and develop your topic. But this is something that is controversial, because sometimes when the article is ready, then only you can formulate the topic. Okay. Sometimes you just have the initial topic of your research that you want to do, or of the people that you want to be writing. right? Once you've done everything, the topic may change. Okay, that is as far as writing research is concerned. Now, as far as my experience is concerned, I have to change my topic as the panels commented in my Viva session. So it is not peculiar. It is not something that is not normal. All right. It all depends on the supervisor. It all depends on the panels during your Viva, and of course, it also depends on you when you're writing a research paper to go ahead and change the topic because you found this kind of finding. Okay. Right. And number 2, do a preliminary research for information. I mean, before you do any kind of before you do any kind of research or you write article for that matter, you have to have something like a basic. You have to do some basic search. How far? Okay. How far is your study? Okay. I mean, how far people are been doing in the field that you want to do. Okay, you need to be looking at these are the things that people have been doing, and this is the things that people have conducted maybe like 5 years ago. Okay, and then this is the gurus, or these are the significant people that are in these areas. They are in the area that you are doing that research. Okay, you need to know. You need to know the names. Okay, you just need to know the names. If you're doing, for instance, if you're doing something on vocabulary, okay, you need to be knowing like pollination. Okay, you need to be knowing like maybe Rob Ellis and etc. and etc. You need to pick up names, okay, in the research that you're doing. Okay, if you don't know, there is a problem with you. Okay, trust me. All right, then we have locate materials. Locate materials, where the materials are. Okay, I'll be talking about it later. So evaluate your sources. Sometimes you need to be making notes. So, and then you write your paper and then cite your sources properly. Okay, so we are going to take a look at all of these things in rather detail after this. Okay. Okay, I think hold on. This part. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so we've done with this part. Okay, now the first thing is that you need to select a topic. So select a topic that you find interesting to you. You have personal interest of that topic, any topic, okay? Because you feel that I like to do this topic. As far as I'm concerned, I like to do a particular topic when I did my PhD, but it did not turn out that way. Okay, it was something that was given to my supervisor, and in the first place, I don't really think that I like the topic, but somehow when I study the topic, when I study the area, then I found that this is something rather good to be researched. Okay, this is something good that I need to be carrying out, right? Because as far as research is concerned, and of course the world of research is concerned, I believe that your supervisor, more or less, okay, he or she has because she or he is familiar with the topic, and of course he or she is familiar with research. All right, I'm not talking about I'm talking about supervisors in general. Okay, and of course when you are doing your research, the research has something to do with the topic that the supervisor is familiar with. Let's say if you want to do something, if you want to do an area which I'm not familiar, I would say I cannot supervise you. Okay. For instance, you want to do something on linguistics. Okay. The effect of, I don't know what is about linguistics, yeah, manner or pragmatics or something, yeah. It's not my research. I don't know. I know that, you know, I learned pragmatics and etc. But if you want to say that, would you like to conduct a research on pragmatic? I mean, you know, very pragmatic is something like very linguistics kind of thing. So I will be saying that, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Okay, that is not my area. Okay, this is something like when I say select topic, usually that topic is familiar to your supervisors, especially when you're talking about nano, for instance. I mean, you know, nanotechnology. In UMP, you can see all the, you can already picture. When I talk about nanotechnology, I will be seeing this particular person, right? When you talk about, I don't know, when you talk about Gaharu, you can see, oh, these are the people, right? Okay. Okay, so this is what I mean by select a topic, select the right supervisor. Okay. All right. Okay, now what else? Yeah. Select a topic for which you can and manageable, which you can find and you can find a manageable information. Okay, I mean manageable amount of information. So this is very important. Okay, saying that you need to be reading, read and read and read, and therefore, if that particular thing is not available out there, so how are you able to read? Yeah. And then be original, stand out from your classmates by selecting an interesting and off the beaten path topic, meaning to say that create your own path or something. I mean, you need to be easy. The bottom line here is that I just want to say that be original in selecting a topic. Okay. Now, if you don't know the topic, okay, so what you can do is that knock on your instructor's door for advice. Okay, instructors mean your supervisor's door. Sometimes the supervisor can give you a topic, but sometimes, as far as I'm concerned, if you go to my door and knocking to my door saying that, can you suggest the topic I'll be doing? I'll be telling get out from here. Okay, why? Because as a researcher, how come you have zero in terms of what you want to be doing? Okay, you have to have at least something. Don't ask, for instance, you know, Madam ZURAINA or Dr. ZURAINA, can you suggest a topic that I can do for my research, PhD research? I'm telling you, you are wasting my time. Okay, it's not a good thing. Okay, I don't want that kind of student. All right, that is one thing. And then we have step 2. And whoever is feeling that person is you, I'm sorry. That is how a supervisor would do. You need to at least know what you want to do. Okay. Now we have step 2. Do a preliminary search for information. So preliminary search meaning to say that do some kind of background work. Okay, underground work or whatever you want to call it. Okay, about the particular topic that you want to do. And of course, we have like. You know, this easy proxy, you can just use that easy proxy, like the library's easy proxy, EZ proxy. Okay, if you don't know this, I will be bringing the librarian next week to teach you on how to use easy proxy. And of course, at this moment, I am sure that I believe that 70% of you know how to use reference managers, for instance, Mendeley or Zotero or EndNote. If you don't know how to use it, you are going to get yourself into trouble. Okay, all right, so please make sure by now, this is already week 2, you know what Mendeley is, you know what Zotero is, etc. and etc. Okay, and now we have step 3, whereby you need to be locating the materials. In locating the materials, like I told you, yeah, we have a lot of databases and of course the library paid quite amount of money in subscribing, for instance, Scopus, in subscribing Science Direct, what else, yeah? apps co-hosts, etc. and etc. They pay a lot amount of money, not in Malaysian ringgit, but in dollars. Okay, so please use easy proxy that that is available. Okay, that is made available by the by UMP library. And the least that you can do, you may be going to Google, Google or Yahoo search, which is not so scientific. Usually, when we cite a particular, research, we are going to cite, those who are scientific research, not, for instance, any page, any web page, yeah. And of course, as a researcher, okay, you need to make sure that you evaluate your sources. Okay, now it is not really good if you use Google Scholars. It is not really good. Yeah, it is. You can use, but sometimes it is much better if you can use more reliable. What I mean by more reliable is that established databases, for instance, the one that I told you. Okay, so those are the ones. Okay, and of course, please avoid using blogs or newspaper, because this is blogs and newspapers. It's just like it's not really authentic compared to those articles in whereby researchers have researchers have consumed a lot of their time to write their findings, to conduct the study, to collect data, to analyze data, rather than you go to blogs. Blogs is just a general idea about what the writer wants to write, perhaps without doing research. I can just write, about this pandemic, so everyone is blah blah blah, so I can just write without having to cite here and there. These are blogs and also newspapers. Okay, but and therefore this is what I mean by evaluate your sources. So make sure that your sources are the sources that are reliable. Okay, now okay, now we have make notes. All right, so sometimes what make notes means is that consult the resources you have chosen and note the information that will be useful in your paper. Sometimes you need to be doing this. Okay, because sometimes if you read and then people might be I remember when I was the PhD student, one of my friends told me reading articles is equals to sleeping or something like that. Okay, she will be telling this funny thing when she said, bila pegang je paper mesti tidur. Okay, bila tidur je mesti pegang paper, research article. So this is the thing. Okay, so if you do not want to fall asleep while reading research papers, so make some notes. Okay, have some use highlighters and whatnot. Okay, you have your notes, etc. And if you're not the kind of person who like to use pen and pencil, maybe you can use Words or Excel to just write, to just highlight the things that are important. Okay, and then step 6 is write the paper. Okay, so begin by organizing the information you have collected. So when you write your papers, okay, you as far as I'm concerned, as one of my I went to a lot of seminars, so you can start anywhere. Okay, but when I write papers, I always start with methodology. Okay, I'm not sure, it's just that I think it is my habit already. I start with methodology. When methodology is sound, and when my methodology is sound and good, and therefore the data that I will be getting is reliable. When your methodology is haywire, okay, you don't know what you're writing in methodology, and therefore your data that you'll be getting is a big question mark. Okay, and therefore I really emphasize on writing, as far as I'm concerned, writing methodology section first. Once I go for the methodology section, then I go to the results, and then discussions. Okay, that is how I did when it comes to writing a paper. Then only Then only at this is one part, right? Then I go to another part, which are literature review. The introduction is my final part where I write. Okay, so I think this is how I did when it comes to writing a paper. Of course, when I write a paper, sometimes I'll be writing it alone. Sometimes I ask collaborators. I mean, some of my colleagues, some of my acquaintance. Some of my, I don't know, researchers out there. You collaborate with people, right? I'm not sure about you, but as a researcher, as a student, I think you will need to be collaborating with your supervisor. All right? Right. This is the thing that I talked about just now. Cite resources or references properly. Okay, this is one example of what we call this. Wait, yeah, hold on. Okay. Okay. All right. So what we call this. This is Dr. Lim. Hold on, yeah. Okay, now, where's that thing? All right, last, okay, before the second last, yeah, step 7, cite resources or references properly. So citing or documenting the sources used in your research serves two purposes. First is that it gives proper credit to the authors of the material used. And number 2 is that it allows those who are reading your work to duplicate your research and locate the sources that you have listed as references. So, okay, that is why there is a need to be to know what MLA or APA or what we call this IEEE or Chicago Manual and etc. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. Here I'm using Mendeley. Okay, so you can have Mendeley and put everything here. So once you're writing the paper, it is really manageable in writing the resources that you use in your papers or in your thesis. Okay, so when I did my PhD, I was not introduced to Mendeley. That time it was EndNote. Okay, so now it is. A lecturer from what we call this, a lecturer from I could remember, from civil, I think. Okay. Okay, now this is the what we call this, the interface of Mendeley. Okay. Last but not least, we have step 8, whereby before you send your article or your thesis, for that matter, please make sure that you proofread the article. Okay. Sometimes you need to hire someone to read your articles. Sometimes you need to be paying others to read your article. So whichever way you pay or you don't have to pay, that article needs to be proofread. That article needs to be proofread. Yeah. Here as an example. Yeah. As an example, the spelling of proofread is one word. Okay. So sometimes, yeah, proof is one word, read is another word. But when we talk about proofread, it is one word. So this is what it means by proofread. To just make sure that everything is intact. The sentences that you're writing is understandable. The punctuations is taken care of. Okay, so those are the things that you need to be doing when you are writing this paper. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I think those the slides just now is the last slide as far as this lecture is concerned. And if you have any questions, you may just what we call this type the questions, okay, in the what we call this what we call in the Telegram, okay, if you have any. Okay, all right. While you are checking the questions that you are going to give that you are going to ask me, take a look at this part. Wait, yeah. Okay, we take a look at the Google sheet just now that that is an activity. Okay, so wait. Okay. Okay, I'll be sharing with you. Okay, all right. Now you see now this is my screen. You go to research methodology, and under this research methodology, if you, so you can the activity is down here. Okay, this is what is this, MIR? Okay. Okay, now the abstract here. Okay, this is how you're going to write. Okay, let's say this is your name, write your name, your metric number as well. Okay, and then in the metric, remember the abstract, it says that you need to be writing, okay, you need to be writing introduction of your study. Okay, so this is your name, let's say XXX. Okay, let's say you'll be writing like this. Okay, this is abstract. 150 words, yeah. This is my kind of abstract. Okay, so maybe one sentence. Okay, this is how many already, and then okay, you were writing the study attempts to identify male and female students. Okay, so you have something. These are more or less intro also. Okay, or here specifically is the objectives. Okay, and then you will have the next sentence, the research methodology that was used in this study. this is already research. This is already, you know, research methodology, because it requires you. This shown been what shown? Wait. Now, okay, now I'm not sure who this M is, okay? So for the article, I have already given the article, okay? So as a in PDF format, I don't think that you have problem now, okay? Now can we concentrate on the Google form first, okay? All right. Okay, now then I have a mixed method research designed, was employed to collect the data. Can you see my, can you write it there whether or not you can see my slide? It was employed to collect the data in the current study. Okay. There were 300 samples that were selected based on systematic sampling. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is my, what we call this, what we call abstract, okay? Okay, so you take a look at this, how many words, this, of course, this is not enough, this is still not enough, okay? This is only very, I don't know how many amount, how many the words are. But when you're writing this, so you need to include, introduction to your study, literature review, methods, okay? And submit your work here means that you just need to use this Google form to write number 1, number 2, and number 3, okay? Now, as far as your friend here, he asked me, this particular thing shown when I click the link. Can you see that? This is the thing, okay? Guide to writing a scientific paper, and I've already told you that I've instructed you, okay? Let me just write it more, or rather one more time, okay? Provided in PDF file. This is the PDF file that I am talking about, okay? Hold on. Okay? In reply, okay. I have already stated it very clearly how many words you need to be reading. I think everyone can read my very simple English there, right? Yeah. I think my English is very simple. I don't use high, I don't know, highly bombastic word. Okay. Okay, any more questions? Because I need to be attending this taklimat dana geran penyelidikan. There is a briefing, and also I have a meeting. Okay, any more? Can I have maybe like 2 more questions? Okay, it's already 3:41. Ivan Baihaki is in Malay. Okay, sorry, it's in Malay. It's in English. Sorry, English only. Yes, English only. Yeah.
Media 100. Media 100.
Okay, any more?
Contribution dia buat tahu apa? Tak ada. Boleh tadi. Okey. Ya. Soal.
Okay, just. I think that will be all, right? Azhar are typing, then Abu Ivan is typing also. So, okay. Regarding the flow of research, is it methodology you talk about? Methodology. The flow of research about the journal paper style. Should we follow? I read first, yeah. Should we follow the journal publication style, or we can just oh no. Number two, number two about the journal paper style. Please make sure that you follow the paper journal style. Cannot be, for instance, should we follow the journal publication style or writing, or we just send it first? If possible, okay, always have the template of that particular journal paper. Okay, use that template. Don't use rather anything. Rather, you don't use your style. You use the template that is given by the journal. Okay. Number three, what do you think about one chapter, one journal published? As far as I'm concerned, I mean, people have different views about this, but as far as I'm concerned, if you can do it, go ahead. Okay, I'm not sure about your supervisor's opinion, but as far as I'm concerned, the more the better. All right. Number four, got some school of thought said send to any journal and get their feedback. If rejected, should we send the rejected journal to the same journal again or others? I would say send to others. They reject. There are millions who want our article to be published. Okay, don't send them again. Send to others. Send to other journals. Okay. Number five, what worries me most? My research or journal similar with others. The difference is the timeline sending to publication. How do we avoid this? How we avoid that? What worries me most? My research journal similar with others. The difference is the timeline sending to publication. Okay, now, so this is difficult, okay? Because the difference is the timeline sending to publication. So I think if I can understand what it means is that if let's say the journal, okay, is going to be published in December, I think as far as I'm concerned, I would like to say that we need to have the can-do attitude, can-do attitude, okay? So if it is within your power, then do it. If it is beyond, maybe not today, maybe later. Okay, this is my comment to Azhar Ahmad's question for number 5. But as far as number 1 is concerned, regarding the flow of research, is it methodology to talk about? Which flow of research? Let me just check my, let me just check. Where did I mention flow just now? Flow of research, I mean, is methodology talks about a few things, for instance, yeah? Methodology talks about what we call this, methodology talks about data analysis. Methodology talks about what we call this data analysis procedures. So those are what methodologies are about, sampling. Okay, so I can comment on what methodologies are. Okay, other than that, I don't quite understand. Okay, but as far as research, when you write research methodology is concerned, there are a few things that you need to be writing. First is that research design, then we have research samples, then we have research instruments, then data collection procedures, then finally data collection, data analysis procedures. Now under that research instrument, there is a subheading whereby you need to be writing validity of your research instrument, and finally, okay, I will take care of that thing. Finally, you also need to be writing reliability of the research instrument. Third slide in research overview presentation. Okay, we go back to this third slide, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, when you say step, when I have this, I'm not sure whether you can see this or not. Okay, Just let me go to this part whereby, wait there. So this step-by-step process, yes, this is a methodology, okay? Methodology is part and parcel of it. And in doing research, okay, of course, you know, you need to be saying to yourself that, of course, you need to have a problem first. And then when you have the problem, you have to have problem first, yeah? Step by step, have problem first. And then, of course, when you have problems, you read first. This is also step by step. And then, of course, when you read, okay, then maybe you are going to formulate the methodology that you are going to use. So all in all, step by step, meaning to say that, okay, here, I think this is the one that you are referring to, right? So it's about the whole thing, the whole picture of doing research. It mainly, it is not only for the methodology, but the methodology is part and parcel in the step-by-step process that you need to be doing. Okay, so this is what I mean. Yeah. I hope I answer your question. Okay. Okay. All right. So I answer that. Okay, now I just now there is something like about Mandalay just now. I'm not familiar with Mandalay, spelling of Mandalay. Okay, is that any class will we attend? Yes, Mandalay class. Okay, Ivan. Okay, you can actually ask the librarian to organize it for you. Yeah. Please make sure that you at least have 5 members or 5 friends, 5 classmates, 5 staff, and then you can contact the person, any librarian, especially what is the person's name. Yeah? If you're in Pekan, you contact Afida, sorry. Afida, check in the librarian punya website. Yeah? If in this campus of Pekan, you can contact this person. Wait, his name is Fawaz, Fawwaz. Okay, how to write lead LR in the abstract? Not the whole thing, Nurul. Okay, just a few significant literature review. Okay, just just a simple literature review. Okay, so always what we call this, if you don't know how to write abstract, you can check the article that I gave to you. LR is a big part in writing a research article, but in introduction, you just have to give the overview of what people have been doing. All right? All right? Don't confuse with having all the LR there. No one do it. Okay, no one does it. Oh, that is good. Sorry, I'm not sure who this person is. I mean, sorry to chip in. The library is conducting one Mandalay workshop tomorrow. Okay, maybe Ivan, you can join this, the Mandalay workshop that will be held tomorrow. Okay. Okay, last question, 3:51 already. Okay, so I think Maria is writing something. Oh, good. Thank you for the info. Okay, that will be all for our class, and I hope that I answer everyone's question. Okay, so please do the activity. The activity is very simple, and also for those who have not, okay, for those who have not, take the quiz, please do so. Okay, because I'll be closing the quiz, that is quiz 1, by Saturday 2:30 p.m. Okay, with that, I wish everyone a very good day, and whoever wants to go for walk, for jogging, I think it's a good day. I mean, okay, right? So with that, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon.